Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. I have Sheenee Cotton here with me today. How you doing, Sheenee? No, your mic is muted.
There we go.
Yeah,
Morning, Cedric. I'm awesome, blessed, glad to be here. How about yourself?
that's right. I'm doing quite well and excited to talk about your journey, how you got to where you are today, and some of the phenomenal things that you're offering. I'd like to take a second to acknowledge our guests who are coming into the building. Yolanda Riley says, good morning. We have other people watching, and I just want to let you guys know that I truly thank you for stopping by here because these people who come to this platform are doing some great things out there in the world, and it's worth knowing about. So be a part of the conversation, ask questions, find out where her products and services are, support her, get into the story. Sheenee, where are you from?
I'm originally from Maryland, born and raised.
Wow. You know what? I want you to take a second and talk to us about the culture of Maryland. You know, you hear it mentioned from time to time, but a lot of people don't really understand the depth of culture that you get out there in Maryland. So, what's it like? What's it like out there?
So you're right. I mean, so Maryland, we're known for several different things, and it's so close to DC and Northern Virginia. So, there's a section known as the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. And it's a lot of culture out there. We're known for our seafood, in
Yeah.
terms of food, the Maryland crab cake and the Maryland blue crab are definitely like staples of the state. It's a very diverse area, especially in that DMV area. So for me, it was nice to grow up in or be around like-minded people and just a lot of diversity. And there's a lot, our nation's capital is in Washington, D.C. So being exposed to all that history, and people in government positions and things like that, just being exposed to all of that is a blessing in and of itself. And I
Absolutely.
say that now, especially being that I live in Los Angeles now, where I'm so far from that environment. I know people that live in Maryland or in that area may take it for granted growing up, being able to take a field trip over to the National Mall, to the Smithsonian's, and really learn all about like the history of our country and of our people.
Sure.
And so being on the West Coast, I now see how that has, played a major part in who I am today and having that in my foundation.
Absolutely. So your cultural understanding is a little bit different by you growing up in a general vicinity of, let's say, the White House or DC or just that whole area. So can you talk to me specifically about how it impacted you, like growing up close to our nation's capital? Some of your field trips must have been just very interesting. Talk about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I think career-wise, it definitely opened my eyes to different career choices and opportunities that I've had, because I got to see a lot of different people in different positions. I also got exposed to people in power on those field trips, like taking trips to the Mint and seeing money being made up in Philadelphia was like eye-opening for me to the
Right.
treasure. So like those things, and actually seeing like the Statue of Liberty and what she means to freedom, and for people that come from the minority communities and things like that, and then also just being able to have access to other areas that are just so close. So my school used to take field trips every year because I was a part of the band. So we used to take field trips every year up to New York. So we would see like Broadway musicals and shows like that. Whereas I'm learning now being in LA, like students don't necessarily do things like that growing up. And so it was nice to be exposed to those opportunities. And it gave me an open mind about just like, you know, like I said, career choices and just the possibilities that are out there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now let's talk about what your interests were as a child and what was going on. Can you talk to me about a day in the life of Sheenee Cotton in, let's say, first grade?
Oh, wow. I don't even
Yeah.
know if I remember
Yeah.
day in a life in first grade of Sheenee Cotton. But I will give you like day in the life of Sheenee Cotton, like middle school.
Okay, go ahead.
So I was a very active student, very active child in general. So
Mhm.
I used to get teased a lot about this, but people now, I guess, have come around and see the reason for it and the benefit of it. So in middle school, I remember going to somewhat of like a career focused program or workshop, maybe is what it was. And they gave us planners, and I was in the
Okay.
sixth grade. And so with that planner, I loved it. Like I naturally like organization and to have like, you know, to-do lists and just things written out so I can be productive and get things done. So I remember being in the sixth grade and getting my first planner. And to this day, that is something that has stuck with me. I operate with a planner. It's electronic now, but back then, like I said, I used to get teased about always having a schedule, having a planner, and people, you know, not just people, but my peers would say, "Oh, well, she's got to put it in her planner." um, so like, yeah, so I used to get comments like that, but it's definitely been beneficial because like I said, I was very active. I was a part of student government. By the seventh grade, I was president of SGA in middle school. I was in the band. I was also a part of the National Business Leaders of America. I was active in my church, president of our youth ministry, and a part of our step team, our praise dance team, our liturgical dancers. So there were several different things that I was involved in school. And then from an academic standpoint, I was a top performing student. So not only was I active in my community, in my church, at school, and in those programs, but I was actively making sure that I maintained a 4.0 GPA throughout school. So that
Yeah.
being the life of Sheenee Cotton back
Yeah.
then.
Huge, huge, huge. When you get active that way, it sets the tone and it sets the pace for the rest of your life.
I
When you
totally agree.
when you invest yourself in those many different positive activities and you get into to the experience and you get something out of it, that momentum carries you well into the next few decades. Now, I want to unpack some of that a little bit for the young ladies and the young men who might come across this story in the future and talk about the actual impact of you having that planner. I mean, my view of the planner is sometimes it's hard for you to be able to see tomorrow. You know, you got a lot of things going on in your world. You're moving around as a young person, a lot of moving parts in your life. So it's hard for you to conceptualize tomorrow. But when you get a planner, I mean, you can conceptualize the next year or two. So talk about the importance of young people obtaining a planner and what that could look like today.
Absolutely. So, um, like you said, a planner for me was very critical, and it's I think it's critical for anyone that wants to take their life, their career, you know, their relationships to the next level. And for me, what a planner did was so we all think big a lot of times. Like, we can see the vision that God has given us, but we may not necessarily know what steps we need to take to get there. And I think what a planner does on a daily, if you use it on a daily as a daily tool, is it allows you to take a step back and make smaller goals that you can do on a daily basis to reach your long-term goals, or to reach that overarching vision that God has given you and planted deep down inside. So for me, it was very important for me to see daily progress, because sometimes we get so focused on the big long-term goal, and it takes time to get to the long-term goal. And so for me, I think it also gave me confidence in seeing, like, okay, I'm making progress every day. Like, I'm doing a little bit of things each day that is getting me to the mark. And so, that helps to build your confidence, your self-esteem around it, and it continues to motivate you to keep going.
I think that is so huge, because it's almost like you just taught me how to use a planner just now. And it's not always what you already know. Sometimes it's hearing it from somebody else that reminds you of the value of something. So, like you said, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, you have this big idea, you have this big event, this big thing that you want to accomplish in your life. The value of a planner is that you can figure out what are the small steps it's going to take for you to achieve that. And then you can spread those small steps out throughout a month or 2 or 3, however many months it takes you to plan out those steps. And then all you got to do is wake up every day and do what's in your planner.
Exactly. And it helps to not feel defeated, because I'm sure you can relate on the journey. There's times when you get discouraged and you feel defeated, but having a planner and laying it out and seeing it has an impact as well. When you can see what you're doing written out on paper, or written in your calendar on your phone, or reminders, or what have you, however you choose to utilize your planner and what method. But it definitely was helpful, and it helped me as a student to stay organized and not procrastinate as well, because that's a big thing as well. As a student, even in college, you can easily slip into procrastination and not get certain assignments or things done that you need to get done in a timely fashion. So it helps to keep you on task. It helps you to stay organized, and it also helps you to get things done by certain deadlines.
Absolutely. Did you receive any inspiration from your family?
Oh, yes. Tons of inspiration. So I grew up in a single parent household with my mother. And I have a little brother on my mom's side. And she was considered low income. At one point, we were living on Section 8. So I always tell people, like, my mother's journey was one of my biggest motivators and inspirations. Witnessing the sacrifices. Sorry, trying not to get emotional, just thinking
you got me emotional too, because shout out to all the mothers out there who are creating a future without your children knowing it, and sometimes without you knowing it. Mothers and fathers out there, when you wake up every day and you put those shoes on and you march out of the house and you make it look easy, it's not in vain, because somebody like Sheenee Cotton is watching that, and it's inspiring her to do some of the phenomenal things that we're going to talk about. Go ahead, Ms. Cotton.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, yeah, so just knowing her journey and the sacrifices that she made for my brother and I was a huge motivating factor for me in who I am today. Seeing her be strong through tough times. There were times where I knew she wouldn't tell me, but I knew, like, she didn't have enough money to get food when she would go to work for lunch, and she would go without several times so that we could eat.
Absolutely. Yep. And you saw that and you remembered it. Of all the millions of things that we could be talking about right now, you remembered the sacrifice of your mother, and you're a great representation of what that strength becomes as you grow. So now I want you to talk to me about how you use that inspiration to overcome adversities, because young women are going to be looking at you and they're going to be saying, okay, she saw her mother, she learned from it, and now what did she do next? So talk to me about how you overcame adversity using the inspiration that was a part of your roots.
So I think one thing that I'll touch on that I know caused part of my mother's lack of finances was financial illiteracy. And so I wanted to make sure that I was a good steward over my finances. So along my journey, I sought out information and tools to make sure that, you know, once I did come into having money, that I managed it to the point where I would never have to worry about just living to survive, and making sure that I can use my money to grow it, multiply it, and create other streams of income, so that I wouldn't have to have or worry about money and lack thereof.
Sure. So now I need you to educate us a little bit. What is financial literacy, and what is it that you did within that realm that you feel made a difference?
So financial literacy is understanding how finances work, understanding how to use money to make more money for yourself. Credit is a big part of that. Thank God that my father was able to learn bits and pieces along his journey that he was able to pass down to me when I was in college, and try to help put me on a path where I could, now to this day, I'm in the 800 club for credit score. So like I just made sure like I was looking for that information and applying it. So at one point, I feel like when I was growing up, especially in the Black community, that was something that wasn't well known, or we weren't well aware of, like some of the methods and tactics that can be used to put us in a better financial position. So things like putting your children on your credit card as an authorized user, so by the time that they are an adult and are able to apply for their own credit card and things like that, they'll already have some credit history. So different tactics like that, I just try to make sure when I find out information, I share it so that as a people, we can continue to grow, be knowledgeable, and, try to even out the playing field, because let's be real, the majority has been at a higher level in power and things like that, and at a higher position than us throughout history. But now with the access to information and with social media giving us a way to connect and get more information, and the internet, I think now we're in a point where there's like a great awakening happening within the pretty much all minority communities, but I'm definitely seeing it in the Black community. And I think we are getting wiser about our finances.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're gonna take a few seconds for everybody to digest the gravity of this conversation. We're dealing with a great success story here, and we'll be back in about 15 seconds. All right. Yeah, literally 15 seconds. So financial literacy is key, and it's something that we all need to take on as a new subject area to get good at and to understand. Did you read it? Did you read any books along the way of your journey that you could pass along to us today?
So I did read some books, but reading books is not necessarily my way of getting information.
Hold on. Let me say this. Not just reading books. Did you take in any critical piece of information that you like to pass along? I'm not Mr. Book. I don't I'm not Mr. Book either. And for all of our watchers out there, I know all does not apply to every. I respect the value of books, but I'm somebody who learns by listening, and I read every single thing that I see. Everything I see, I read it. I'm constantly listening. I spend hours and hours a week listening to educational videos and stuff like that. So it's no knock on anybody who does a lot of reading or doesn't do a lot of reading. But is there any educational nuggets that you like to pass on to us today?
I'm glad you said that because, everything isn't for everyone. And I agree. Like, there's definitely valuable information out there in books. I'm just happen not to be the one that grabs a book and read one every like couple weeks or month. But there, I'm trying to remember. There are a few books out there that I have read, but they're more so like leadership books.
Okay.
And like 212 Degrees. It's a quick, easy read, but it's definitely a self-help, like motivating book because it talks about the fact that water boils at 212 degrees.
Okay.
And so if you pretty much like if you get to a lot of times we're operating and we're like at 210 or 211, but if we just give that one more ounce of energy or just that one more thing that will push us to that 212, then we're going to operate differently, because water is boiling at 212. So a lot of times we're so close, but not willing, or for whatever reason don't get to the boiling point of where we need to be going.
That's huge right there. What can you do? And this is for the audience, this is for all of us. This is all of our experience this morning. What can you do to go from being hot to being on fire?
Right.
What is that one thing that you can do that will take you from you're lukewarm, you're cool, to gotta get in touch with her, gotta find her? What was it for you? What was it for you that took you from that place of kind of lukewarm to she's popping?
I feel like I've just been very.
You was always popping?
I mean,
hey, let's get some hearts and likes in the building for Sheenee Cotton. She was always popping. What am I talking
I just want to preface it as this. Anything that I get involved with, I do wholeheartedly. And I'm extremely determined, and I'm very competitive within my own self. So if I'm going to be involved in it, you can believe that I'm going to give 2,000% of myself to it. Okay. So that's what I mean. Like, I'm not necessarily sure I can think of a moment where I was like warm or lukewarm and then did something specifically to get to 212, because I tend to operate with, if I'm in it, I'm in it.
Yep. And see, this is the importance of having the proper foundation for young people, because this is the momentum that I was talking about. When you get involved beyond what's considered normal, when you get into an exceptional level of activity, then you are bound to achieve exceptional heights in your life. And she's a prime example of that. So do you have any tips for everybody else? What can we do to gain a competitive edge?
So, I mean, definitely plan and strategize. Take time to think of a plan. And let me kind of take a step back. So my pastor did a series one time about planning, and in one of the series on that Sunday, he talked about your yearly strategy and your yearly plan. And so he talked about specific components within your life that you should always have some sort of strategy, plan, and goals for every single year. And so some of those include your family and friendships. How can you take those to the next level? Finances, your career, your fitness and health goals, and your faith. So in those areas, those are some of the big areas of our lives, right? And so to this day, every year around like October, November, I start to sit down and look at each of those areas and set goals around that, and to be very specific about it. So you pretty much put a deadline. You set like, okay, am I going to do this task every month? Will I do this task every quarter? And then you're supposed to go back in at the halfway point of the year and see, okay, where am I at? Where can I improve? Have I hit that goal? If I have, then I can set another one to keep the momentum going every single year. So you can look back at each year and say, you know what, in these areas of my life, I've been able to achieve this all throughout this one year.
Right. Wow. Okay. Being intentional about the life that you're creating, I think, is something that we can all get on board with, and really being the pilot of your life, incorporating a form of spirituality as you try to find your way through life is important as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back shortly with the second half of a great story from Sheenee Cotton. America's Next Motivator, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator, hosted by me, Cedric Riley, and sponsored by the Pride Empowerment Network. Sheenee, how you feeling out there?
I'm great. Feeling good, Cedric.
All right. So now let's get straight into the next chapter. You decided to become an entrepreneur in several capacities as an adult. Can you talk about your vegan food products? Let's go.
Absolutely. So I've been vegan for almost 3.5 years now. And
congratulations.
Thank you. So I just want to take a little step back and kind of give everybody like the reason why I went vegan, and all of that, and why I decided to start my company and dive into vegan products. So as a lot of people know, there's a lot of statistics around about certain illnesses that are prevalent in my community, in the Black community, in our community. And that hit home personally for me a few years ago when, 4 years ago actually now. So I went home to Maryland for Thanksgiving. Thankfully, I did that year, and I got to spend some time with my grandfather. And during that visit, I was just at his house chilling. He was asleep, in and out of sleep. And he woke up to take his medication. And this was the first time like I had been around when he was taking his medication. So I was just floored at how much medication he had to take. He
How
had
many?
a huge lunch pail of medication. I'm sure most of you have seen that monthly container where it has Monday through Friday for the whole month, or excuse me, not Monday through Friday, Sunday through Saturday for the whole month. So he had that, and then he had a few additional medications like on the side table that he had to take.
How many pills was he taking every day?
I don't know the number, but it had to have been close to about 20, 25 pills a day. Because he had diabetes, he had heart disease, he also had high blood pressure, and probably a couple other things going on. And he ended up getting a infection in his foot.
Okay.
So all of that. And so he looks over at me and he's like, I pray you never have to go through this and take all of these medications.
Right.
And so to fast forward, the next month he passed away. And so that stuck with me. And I started doing research about those illnesses because, you know, a lot of times they tell us like, okay, it runs in your family, it's in your genes, in your DNA. So I wanted to try to prevent those things if I could. And the one thing that was a constant theme that I found in my research is that a lot of it had to do with the food that we eat. And so from there, that's when I knew I wanted to make a serious change to my diet. And I watched a documentary that Netflix put out about 3.5 years ago called What the Health. And so that was very eye-opening for me. And from the very next day after watching that documentary, I went cold turkey, I went vegan, and I haven't turned back.
Wow. You know what? I want to definitely congratulate you on seeing the way that the pharmaceutical space is affecting us when we don't know how to eat better. And not only did you take note of it, you changed your life as a result of it. So you're an example of what you're talking about. Now, I went out there because when people tell me that they're doing things, I like to go look for the evidence. And I found out that you are making some phenomenal vegan cornbread that you created from scratch. So, ladies and gentlemen, we get ready to watch her promotional about this cornbread. Then we'll get to some other things that she's doing as well. Y'all give me 1 second here. 1 second. Hold up, y'all. Give me 1 second. This is not doing it properly. It didn't go properly. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Take your time.
Yeah. So sometimes there's so many things happening on the computer that it's not processing what I'm telling it. So let me tell it what to do one more time. Give me a second. Because I'm over here jamming to the video and I'm thinking y'all with me and you're not. So give me 1 second, y'all. There we go. Beautiful.
Thank
All right,
you.
now what were we looking at there?
So yeah, I packaged my vegan honey pecan cornbread mix so that you guys can enjoy it on your own terms in your own homes. So it's super delicious. It's the perfect balance of buttery and sweet, and it's very.
Hold up. Amber's out there in the comments. Amber is a phenomenal right-hand woman. She says that this is on Netflix. Where is this on Netflix?
Oh, I think she might have been talking about the documentary.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm like, what? All right. So back to the cornbread. Yeah, y'all, this woman is phenomenal. So, we trying to put in as much as we can here, but y'all got to bear with us. She is out here in the world doing major things. Okay. So talk to us a little bit more about the cornbread. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's moist like cake. It's not that dry cornbread. Some people like the dry. I don't care for that one. But yeah, so and then I add like a twist to cornbread by adding the candied pecans and the vegan honey butter drizzle on top. It's so easy to make. Honestly, a child can make it. You just add 2 ingredients, and that's vegan butter and vegan milk, and that's it. So yeah, it's super simple. It's available right now on my website, cottoncreationsllc.com. And I updated the packaging on it. So this is the new bag for it. Can you guys see that?
Nice.
Yeah, so that's it. So when you order it now, they come in the new packaging. How the saying goes, be ready so you don't have to get ready.
That's
so
right.
Planning to try and get it into grocery stores and supermarkets next. So I went on ahead and changed the packaging so that I'm ready for that.
And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, this person right here, this consumer says it is really good. I love it. People not going to be dropping miscellaneous comments with no intention out here. Y'all go out there and find her cornbread, acquire it, buy it, eat it, and then drop a review. But
that's right.
But there's more to get to, though, because not only did you get into the food industry, you also got into the cosmetology industry. So what are you doing there?
So I invented
okay.
Yes, part of my titles because my product is patent pending and will be fully patented by the top of the year. But so I invented a hair accessory that allows you to create custom ponytails that are also reusable. It's called the ponytail sleeve, and this is the packaging for that product.
Let me see the back of it.
This is the back.
Nice.
So I have one out of the packaging right now. So this is what it looks like. Is the sleeve, and then a completed ponytail is like this. So pretty much, I don't know if you have the video, if we can run the tutorial so people can get a better understanding, and then I'll talk through it a little bit more.
Well, this is the thing about it. I know you guys looking at my computer, and if you weren't, yeah, I got the video. That's what I do. I go out there and I find an example. So check out this video. We're going to screen share again effectively. Give me 1 second. How many videos do you have on YouTube?
I don't know. A lot.
A lot.
And welcome back to Cotton Creations. So today I am bringing you another hair tutorial, and I've been wanting to do this style with the ponytail sleeve for quite some time. So I'm going to do it today, and that's a half up, half down style, just to show you guys another option. So if you're interested in this video, please stay tuned, but make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next awesome video. Let's hop into it.
Okay.
There's one thing that I want to point out about the ponytail sleeve. It is extremely stretchy, and it has a lot of stretch to it. However, you have to make your cardstock paper cone wide enough to stretch it out to fit your braid. Let's face it, we all have different hair. Some people have thick hair, some people have fine hair, some people have different texture hair, curly, wavy, straight, all of it. So in order to get the best fit, you have to either roll your cardstock paper around your braid or roll it first and then slide your braid into it to make sure that it's the right size so that you have the best fit. Because once you add the hair to your ponytail sleeve, that thread or glue will lock in however far you've stretched it or haven't stretched it. And if you have a thicker braid, then you need a little bit more stretch, and it could result in you having a too snug ponytail if you don't stretch it out prior to construction. So I hope that helps. So I know a couple people have reached out about that. So hopefully that helps. And I'll probably do a tutorial on how to properly measure out your braid with your cardstock paper so that your ponytail can be the perfect fit. All right, let's hop into this half up, half down. So I'm just going to braid my hair down so I can go ahead and sew the hair onto the back part of my hair. And of course, I'm going to be using the ponytail sleeve for the half up ponytails. So that's what it looks like. Just going to roll my cardstock paper. And this is the step that I was explaining in the beginning of the video. You want to make sure it's wide enough for your braid. So then you can either sew the hair onto your ponytail sleeve or you can glue it onto your ponytail sleeve. Next, I'm just going to braid my hair up, and I'm going to use the rubber band method today instead of the rapid strip. And then I'm just going to simply slide the ponytail sleeve right onto my braid, secure it with the drawstring, and then I'm just going to take a little piece of hair and wrap around the base, and that's going to be held using the Got To Be spray, and that's it. And here's the final look. And remember, the ponytail sleeves can be purchased at www.ponytailsleeve.com, and they are available in black and beige.
Nice.
Thank you.
So talk to us a little bit about the ingenuity that went into that. How did you achieve that?
So my brain just works creatively in terms of like thinking of like new ways to do certain things that are better and improved. So that day I was trying to think of a way to achieve the sleek, what is called the invisible ponytail, or also known as the infinity ponytail look, without requiring glue on my hair, because as you guys can see, I'm naturally curly. I don't put glue or any like damaging products on my hair. So but I wanted that hairstyle. So right. I was just like, you know what, it'd be cool if there was like a product out there that I could put the hair on and then somehow attach it to my hair. And so that's kind of where the idea came from. And I had some old fabric laying around, so I kind of try to do like a mock-up hand stitch version. And from there, I contacted a friend who is a seamstress and has her own line of clothing. And I was like, hey, could you do like a prototype for me of this? So from there, that's kind of how how I was able to get the pattern and design. And then I took it to manufacturing. And in that process, I applied for the provisional patent and got that to cover me for the first year. And I will have the full patent by the top of the year.
Phenomenal. Very important to trademark, patent, and copyright your ideas so that they can become pure assets. And so that's a part of the real power that she's talking about, is that she's creating things and then she's owning them, which is building a legacy for her family. Sheenee Cotton, greatness is presenting itself to the world through you. Because not only did you do this, but you also got into acting, and it's part of the reason why you're in LA right now. Is that right?
That's correct.
So talk to us a little bit about your adventure as an actress.
So yeah, the adventure is continuing, or continuous. So yeah, I moved to LA to pursue full-time my acting career. Thankfully, I have been a working actor since 2014. The journey is definitely not for the faint. Because there's going to be highs and lows, ups and downs. It's very unpredictable. But, you know, this is definitely a true test to your faith and your passion. So if you're not passionate about it and you lack faith, you're probably not going to last long in Hollywood. I thankfully have been able to have some major highs that have, propelled me to and motivated me to keep going on the journey. The most recent one was I had a co-star on the show Games People Play on BET that stars Lauren London. I'm not sure if it's going to get a season 2 just because, unfortunately, when the show was scheduled to air, Nipsey Hussle passed. Actually, we filmed 4 days before his passing was the final day of filming for the show. So, with all of that and the star of the show being Lauren London, unfortunately, I don't think it will get picked up for a second season, but it was a great opportunity with working alongside of her on that show. You've also probably seen me in some commercials. I had a big spot in the Honda Super Bowl commercial in 2016, or maybe it was 17. But yeah, so it's definitely been a journey. At the moment, I am working on the show All American, which is a CW show, but most people know it from when it gets uploaded to Netflix. So I'll be going there after this interview.
Wow. We have a phrase in some communities. The phrase is off the chain. And I can't assume anybody knows what off the chain means, but if you watch her story here on America's Next Motivator, this is the definition of off the chain. She is what you would call off the chain. She is involved in high quality, high level, competitive endeavors. She is on the offense and she is very victorious in this life. And she's got a lot of life ahead of her. That's what we call living your life off the chain. Amber Tiff said that was 2017. Now, we're rounding third base here, and I understand that you have other obligations that you have to meet today. And I just have a few more questions for you. The first is, what is survival to you?
So I think now in my life, survival to me is just living life just to in the basic format of it. In terms of, you need to eat every day, or you need, a roof over your head. It's not really living your best life, like the new term now. It's not living your fullest life when you're in survival mode. In survival mode, I feel like there's still like a lack thereof. And yeah, I mean that's what surviving is. But I personally strive to live beyond survival. I strive to live my best life every day, as if it's my last. I strive to leave a legacy for those coming behind me, for Black girls like myself with darker skin, with curly natural hair, that grew up in a single parent, low income household. Like, I want to open doors for those that are coming behind me that have similar or the exact same circumstances that I was able to overcome.
When you talk about opening doors for others, those are the types of stories that get told for decades to come. Talk to me about some of the doors that you want to open for young ladies who look like you. What are some of the things that you plan on doing in the next several years?
Yeah. So, one thing that I definitely want to do, which I've started working with 2 other beautiful Black queens on, and that is in the entertainment industry. I'm sure for those that are not a part of the industry, some of the stories are starting to be heard now with the Black Lives Matter movement and momentum that is gained over 2020, and that is the disparities and things like that we still face in the industry. So, things like blackface are looked down upon and frowned upon and are unacceptable, quite honestly. But still to this day in the industry, a person's stunt devil or their photo devil can still be put in blackface. And the reason and excuse for it is, well, there aren't any black stunt performers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, there are. You're just too lazy to go look and find them.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're taking on issues like that with this organization that myself and, like I said, two other beautiful queens started to try to get our actors union, SAG-AFTRA, on board to start to address these things and put language in the contract that says, this is unacceptable, and that this should not continue on, and that, we need to be treated with dignity, respect, and fairness in the industry.
Absolutely. That's big time leadership right there, because you're talking about decades of division and doing things in a way that could be offensive to certain groups, and it's very important that it's addressed. A lot of people are not bold enough to address it, but you are, right? And so I look forward to updates about that, and if there's any way that we can support you here on America's Next Motivator, we are pleased to do so. So feel free to keep up with us with updates as well. Now, what are some other doors that you want to open?
So when it comes to the vegan space and just food products, I know there's a lack of Black-owned products in grocery stores and things like that. So I would love to, once I'm able to get my products into stores and places that have a lot of exposure that we weren't traditionally able to get into. And once I've learned that whole process, I want to be able to share that knowledge and bring on other female Black-owned businesses, because I know there are a lot of us out there that have the products, but we're not in the stores, we're not on the shelves. So I would like to be able to bring them on the journey and share my knowledge and make those connections to be like, hey, I'm in here and I know some other really dope products and great Black-owned businesses that, this store could benefit from having. So I want to be able to do that. And I've already started doing that from a business standpoint as an entrepreneur. I have a few different mentees that I've mentored on, them starting their businesses. They're Black-owned as well, and just taking them on a journey and teaching them about, the accounting side, the legal side of things, and sharing that knowledge so that we can all grow and elevate as a people.
Phenomenal. What is success to you?
Success for me is kind of
everything you were just talking about.
Huh?
Everything you were just talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's multifaceted, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just like a one type of thing or just like but yeah, it is comprising of everything that I talked about, and it also goes a little further to make sure that you are giving back and helping others get there too. So I tell people, so I used to work for a Fortune 500 company for 8 years in telecommunication, and succeeded there as well. But when I first got there, I had this mentality of, I have to elevate and go further. And it wasn't a team approach. Mm-hmm. And so I quickly learned once I got to higher levels and higher positions that, my success is a direct reflection of how many people I bring along on the journey, who I prepare in developing to take my spot. so that they can, take the torch and go further and do better. So that's also a part of a measurement of our success, is looking back on, who all did we bring up with us along on the journey.
You are greatness. Sheenee, I want to let you know that I've listened to your story today. I was inspired by your journey, how you overcame adversity, how you were competitive and extremely knowledgeable about where you were going, and the evidence that you were there, what you left behind. And I want to let you know you've been a big value to everybody today. I appreciate you stopping by our platform. I want to give you a crown today while you're still living. Everybody drop those crown emojis in the chat area right now so she can know we're giving her a crown today while she's still living, giving her respect while she's still here with us, and looking forward to a bright future of Sheenee Cotton. I want to let you know that you, Sheenee Cotton, you are America's next motivator.
Thank you, King. Thank you, Cedric. It was a pleasure to join you and connect with you today. I just want to say kudos to you, because what you're doing for our community, especially the Black community, showing positive images and roles in the Black community is major. And you yourself being just a positive reflection of being a Black king is just so awesome. And we don't see it enough. So I appreciate you for doing the work that you're doing. It's so awesome.
Absolutely. Thanks for stopping by today, okay?
You're welcome.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Each and every episode of America's Next Motivator is going to have something here for you. All you've got to do, just like you did today, is stop by and pick it up.